It was a quiet, unsettling night. The Black Hills forest in Maryland stretched out like a breathing creature, its dark canopy swaying with every whisper of the wind. Ethan, a 25-year-old who loved camping, had always been drawn to the silence of the woods. He wanted to escape the noise of daily life, to sleep under the stars, and feel like he was part of something older and wilder. That evening, he set up his small tent far from the usual camping spots. No tourists, no marked trails, just him and the endless trees. A real adventure, he muttered to himself as he hammered the stakes into the damp earth. At first, the forest felt almost comforting. The hum of insects, the rustle of branches, even the crunch of his boots on the dirt. It was all familiar music. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, shadows grew long and heavy, and the woods began to feel less like a sanctuary and more like a cage. Ethan sat by the fire, ate his meal, then crawled into his tent, planning to read before drifting off. His eyelids grew heavy, and before long he was asleep. Sometime past midnight, he woke abruptly. He didn't know why. The fire outside had burned down to ash, and darkness pressed in from every side. The forest was unnervingly silent. Too silent. No chirping crickets, no rustling branches, just an oppressive stillness. That was when he heard it. A faint voice carried through the trees. Ethan. Ethan. His blood ran cold. The voice was painfully familiar. It belonged to his childhood best friend, Daniel. But Daniel had been dead for nearly 10 years. A car accident had taken him away, and Ethan had never truly healed from the loss. The voice came again, clearer this time. Ethan, over here. His heart pounded. He wanted to tell himself it was a dream, or maybe a trick of exhaustion. But the tone, the rhythm of the voice, it was exactly Daniel. Even the little laugh at the end, the one Daniel always had when calling his name. Ethan unzipped his tent slowly and stepped out into the cold night air, flashlight trembling in his hand. The beam sliced through the darkness, catching trunks of pines and patches of wet earth. He whispered, almost against his will, "Daniel." Silence. And then, "I'm here. Don't be afraid." The warmth in the voice tugged at him like a magnet. Part of Ethan screamed to go back into the tent, to ignore it, but another part, the aching part of him that still missed Daniel, pulled him forward. He started walking, his boots crunching on the brittle leaves. Every few steps, the voice would echo again, always just out of reach, leading him deeper into the woods. After 10 minutes, he stopped abruptly. Something felt wrong. There were no sounds of life here, not even the wind. It was as if the entire forest was holding its breath. Then the voice came again, closer than ever. "Ethan, I've been waiting." And that's when he saw it. Between two trees, a tall, twisted silhouette stood motionless. Its outline was all wrong, longer than any human should be. Its eyes reflected the beam of his flashlight, glowing faintly, and when it spoke, it was Daniel's voice. The figure didn't move, only stared with those glowing eyes. Its voice came again, dripping with false warmth. "Remember me, Ethan. Come closer. Don't leave me alone again." Ethan's chest tightened. The voice tore open old wounds. He wanted to believe, to run forward and hug the friend he had lost. But something deep, primal, screamed inside him. This wasn't Daniel. He took a step back, his boot snapping a branch underfoot. The sound echoed far too loud in the silence. The creature's head tilted unnaturally, and it slid forward one step. The flashlight revealed more. Its body was grotesque, a mess of stretched skin and warped limbs. But its face kept changing. One moment, it was Daniel's boyish smile. The next, it melted into a dark, featureless mass. "You're not him," Ethan whispered, voice cracking. The thing replied, mimicking Daniel perfectly. "I am. Trust me. Just a little closer." And suddenly, Ethan understood. This was no ghost, no hallucination. It was something older, something that survived by copying the voices of the dead. A predator that lured people with grief and love. The Black Hills weren't empty. They belonged to this creature. Fear exploded in his chest. He turned and ran. Branches whipped against his arms as he stumbled blindly, flashlight bouncing in his grip. But the voices didn't stop. They multiplied. "Ethan, come back. Don't leave me here." They came from every direction. Sometimes Daniel, sometimes his mother, sometimes even his own voice calling back at him. It was as if the entire forest had turned into a choir of ghosts. His lungs burned. He tripped, scraped his knees, but forced himself up. The trees seemed to close in, twisting together. Then, as his flashlight swung across the ground, he froze. He had stumbled into a clearing. In the middle lay small mounds, piles of bones, human bones. Clothing scraps still clung to some, shredded and rotten. The realization hit him like ice water. This wasn't the first time. The creature had lured others here, many others. A voice rose from behind him, soft, sweet. Daniel's voice. "Ethan." He turned, and the creature was right there, just a few feet away. Its face was fully Daniel's now, smiling eerily. "Stay with me. Forever." Tears blurred Ethan's eyes. For a second, grief almost won, but when the flashlight hit the creature full on, the illusion shattered. There was no face, just a gaping hole where a face should be, a dark maw that projected the stolen voices. The thing lunged, its limbs moving in jerky, unnatural bursts. Ethan screamed, hurling the flashlight at it, and bolted into the trees. He didn't look back. The voices chased him, sometimes pleading, sometimes shrieking. Hours passed, or maybe only minutes. He couldn't tell. His body screamed with exhaustion, but then he saw it. A pale gray light between the trees. Dawn. With his last strength, he stumbled toward it, crashing through branches until he spilled out of the tree line. He collapsed on the muddy ground, gasping for air. Behind him, the forest was silent again, perfectly still. The creature hadn't followed him out. He lay there until the sun rose, shaking, the memory seared into him. He never returned to the Black Hills after that. But sometimes, late at night, when the world is quiet, he swears he still hears it. Soft, almost tender, carried on the wind. "Ethan, I'm waiting."